Raw. Last week we saw a collective group of superstars, divas, referees, announcers, and even cameramen walk out on Raw. More specifically, COO Triple H. After a week of promoting a protest, the Occupy Raw event, it all ends with Triple H being removed from power and John Laurinaitis being appointed the interim general manager of Raw. Charlie, we're going to start off with you first. What are your thoughts on how everything went down on Monday?
Okay, I thought the show started off good. I liked the whole thing where you got these guys who are loyal, and, Triple H is going to try to, keep Raw going and that stuff, and you have CM Punk on commentary, which, I don't think it's much of a secret that I'm going to mark out for that. Although it lasted a minute, which I was very disappointed about. And then it was like after that whole thing was over, it just went so far downhill. And I thought the matches weren't intriguing. John Laurinaitis cutting promos is never a good thing. It all ended with something good with R-Truth coming back with The Miz, but for me, the show was flat and underwhelming.
Going back to the no confidence vote from last week, on the surface, I found the whole setup very entertaining, but once you started to dig a little deeper, questions started to come up like, is Triple H done? What's going to happen on SmackDown? Because he just doesn't run Raw. He's a COO of WWE. Where do they go from here, and what are they going to do to make this all work? Because it was a very fine line that they had to walk to make sure everything all made sense. I thought they did a good enough job explaining why SmackDown was still operating, and with the use of social media to continually color in the picture throughout the week, I thought it was all compelling enough to get me hyped up for Raw. Then we fast forward to the show itself, and even more than the show being bad or flat, to me it was disappointing. That's the perfect word to use once you put everything into perspective. You had Vince McMahon return, an authority figure being removed from power, a new GM, a firing, two people that were fired being rehired. On paper, that should have been an off-the-charts awesome show, but it was nowhere near that. Even though I did like the opener with Triple H, Sheamus, Punk, and Cena, the follow-up makes me call into question why they even went so far with that and the whole solidarity rally. It's basically like driving a car, pedal to the metal, going max speed, then you decide to slam on the brakes. Some people may find that exhilarating and exciting with the shock value and all, but then again, when you slam on the brakes like that, you do have a chance of flying right through the damn windshield. And on Raw, I feel like we flew through the windshield.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way they go from here is basically they go back to what they used to do, where you have the two GMs running their shows, and whoever is running the entire company as a whole just backs up and gets out of the picture. Right now, Triple H got a match booked. I don't know if he's going to step back in the ring eventually. Something I wouldn't want to see, but I wouldn't doubt that it's going to happen. But definitely you want to have the two GMs, Teddy Long and, for right now, John Laurinaitis, running their shows and being the guys that are actually booking all the matches and controlling the show, with Triple H still running the entire company, but nothing with the show, with each individual show.
This thing has changed up and evolved and taken so many different forms. Where do you see the end game now? Because, a while ago, the end game with Triple H and his position as COO in WWE, it could have been a CM Punk and Triple H feud. It could have been a battle for power between Triple H and Vince McMahon. But the way Vince McMahon returned, and he was talking about how he liked the job that Triple H was doing, and he liked the style of Monday Night Raw since Triple H took over. So it seems as if they're not going in that direction. Where do you see things heading now? And is that direction a really good way to go?
Definitely we're going to go into a John Laurinaitis Triple H thing with the teams. I think they're going to do the Team Triple H versus Team Laurinaitis type deal. It makes sense with how they're booking this. I don't think Laurinaitis should have been the guy to do it because he's not entertaining and he's not interesting and nobody cares about him. But that's the route that I think they're going to take.
With me, John Laurinaitis being announced as the GM, or at least the interim GM, that didn't have any spark for me, and especially him on the mic, that just doesn't have any spark for me at all. It's just like he kind of sucks the air and excitement out of the room, and, some people find him a very interesting character, the way that he gets heat like Vicky Guerrero does. But I would rank Vicky Guerrero, to be completely honest, above John Laurinaitis, because at least she has something more going for herself. You know, when she gets on that mic, even with the whole excuse me thing, it may not be much, but it does a whole hell of a lot. With him, I don't know. Like, I don't think he fits into that mold of general manager, and I'm hoping that whoever they choose to be the permanent general manager, it happens really quickly, because I don't think I can deal with John Laurinaitis and, more importantly, that voice for too much longer.
I definitely wouldn't mind it being Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
Well, yeah, that's like the number one choice for a lot of wrestling fans out there. I think we're definitely going to see Mick Foley back in WWE whenever it happens. Who knows and in what capacity? We can't say right now, but that is the number one choice for a lot of people out there as to who they would want to see as the permanent general manager. But let's move back to our original topic, you know, in WWE in this angle. WWE, for me, it seems as if they found a way to get us excited and command our attention. I think the ratings for the last episode of Raw clearly indicate that, because the first hour of Raw got a 3.5. Any week, that's a really good rating. But in football season, that's great. But the ratings also show that WWE hasn't found a way to capture and hold on to that buzz, because from hour 1 to hour 2, they lost about 700,000 viewers. Usually ratings go up in the second hour, but for them to go down and then by that much, that should raise some red flags. But even if you don't want to take one show as evidence, just look at the follow-through with some of the other angles. CM Punk and his simmering feud with Triple H and how they rushed that, Kevin Nash and the whole text message story, the Divas of Doom, the two Sin Caras, and the list goes on and on and on. All of this promise that they start out with, and then it goes to waste. And let me just say that the goal here is not to bash WWE. It's to send a message, because I actually like this new strategy that WWE has taken for the last couple of months. They are straying away from the norm and taking risks. But I can't keep applauding them for stepping out on a limb when they frequently keep running back to safety right after.